In just 8 years, more than 1 million lives were lost. Children marched into minefields, cities were erased by chemical gas, and the world watched, mostly in silence. This was not World War II. This was not Vietnam. This was the Iran-Iraq War, a conflict so brutal, so complex, it reshaped the Middle East forever. But here's the question few dare to ask. Why did two neighboring nations choose mutual destruction? And why did it last so long? To understand this war, we must first understand the world that existed before it. Iran, ancient Persia, rich in history, culture, and oil. Iraq, young as a modern state, but powerful, ambitious, and armed to the teeth. Between them flows the Shatt al-Arab River, a narrow waterway, but a wide source of hatred. For decades, borders were disputed, old grudges simmered, and beneath it all lay something far more explosive than territory: religion, power, and fear. Iraq was ruled by a Sunni minority. Iran was overwhelmingly Shia, and in 1979, everything changed. In that year, the Iranian people overthrew their Western-backed Shah. In his place rose Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a religious leader with a dangerous message: export the Islamic Revolution. To Iraq's leader, Saddam Hussein, this was a nightmare. He feared Iran's revolution would inspire Iraq's oppressed Shia majority. Fear quickly turned into ambition. Iran was unstable, its army weakened, its leaders distracted. To Saddam, this looked like opportunity. But history would soon prove he had miscalculated. On September 22, 1980, Iraqi jets bombed Iranian airfields. Ground forces crossed the border. Saddam promised a quick victory. He expected cheers. He expected collapse. Instead, he awakened a nation. Men, teenagers, even children volunteered to fight. They believed they were defending Islam itself. This was no longer a border war. It had become a holy war. Iran lacked modern weapons, so it used what it had: people. Human wave attacks sent thousands charging minefields, armed with faith and plastic keys said to open the gates of heaven. Some were only 13 years old. Imagine being told that dying was victory. Meanwhile, Iraq adapted, and then it crossed a line that shocked the world. Iraq unleashed chemical weapons, mustard gas, and nerve agents. Entire villages suffocated. The town of Halabja became a graveyard overnight. Women, children, animals frozen where they fell, and the world looked away. Why? Because geopolitics mattered more than morality. As the war dragged on, both sides attacked oil tankers. Global oil supplies were threatened. Now the war wasn't just Iran versus Iraq, it was the world versus instability. The United States, the Soviet Union, and Gulf states all took sides, not for peace, but for interests. Weapons flowed, money flowed, death followed, and still no one won. By the mid-1980s, the war had no purpose, only momentum. Millions were dead or wounded, cities lay in ruins, economies collapsed, and yet neither side would surrender. Why? Because pride had replaced reason. How do you stop a war when stopping feels like defeat? In 1988, Iran accepted a UN ceasefire. Ayatollah Khomeini called it drinking a cup of poison. After 8 years, the borders were exactly the same. No winner, no justice, only scars. The Iran-Iraq War did not end in 1988. It echoed forward into the Gulf War, into regional rivalries, into today's tensions. It taught dictators they could survive brutality.
It taught nations that silence enables suffering, and it proved something timeless. Wars rarely end hatred, they only inherit it. The Iran-Iraq War is not just history, it is a warning about pride without limits, power without accountability, and leaders who gamble with lives they will never lose. Because when nations fight for ideology, ordinary people pay the price. If we remember nothing else, will we at least remember the cost?